At my level, let me tell you where it's been an aha moment. It's been an aha moment for our board of directors, and it's been an aha moment for our executive team. I've been here, I'm getting ready to close out my 30th quarter, okay? We talk kind of like we did in our Dell days in terms of quarters. I've missed 2 out of 30, or said differently, I've made 28 out of 30 quarters, and we've done it with a plus or minus 5 to 8% variance. That's not because, we're that good. It's because the discipline applied towards RevOps has allowed us to apply a model with a large enough pipeline that we can get pretty close, not at the region level, but at my level, at the CRO level, to have that level of predictability. And what I described at the outset is a very lumpy, long cycle time, complex platform, not a tool, platform business is unheard of. What is probably the central question to ask, right? And that is the most important thing to ask. What culturally has happened? How have things changed? I would say, particularly in my past experiences at Cisco and at Dell even, I'm not going to say hid behind the curtain, but there was an accountability model that lacked at the region level based upon what we knew and how we can inspect what we expect and then work gap closure on the back end. Our taxonomy, our language, how we talk to each other, I would say culturally is the first thing that has changed. Second, we can set expectations clearly. When you can stop like green, yellow, red, where you are at any one point in time relative to your current region pipeline to target, combined with your to-go number, you can quickly begin to say, we've got to close X to get home or to get close, right? Now, what's the viability of getting there is a different conversation, but to have that level of optics applied through that lens on running a business where you know where the finish line is and what's required to get there, that takes out a lot of ambiguity. And I would say that ambiguity, as I described my past experiences, existed. And you just did the best through brute force to get there. Today, it's much more fact-based and data-driven. And that combined with the taxonomy and the language we use, it's a cultural shift. It really is. And RevOps has become a very central component to helping us drive better productivity and predictability as we do planning across the revenue streams inside our organization and begin to reverse engineer what right looks like. And when I say reverse engineer, it starts with, what are the year-on-year assumptions, right? What's the top-down business plan driving towards? What do we have to support that? And then what do we know, right? What do we know about our win rate? What do we know about the cycle time and average length of that deal, right? How is the sales velocity being applied towards the current pipeline, along with some other dynamics, to then look at the health of, can we get from point A to point B? And I would say in the past, it was like a lot of companies, some of it was done on spreadsheets. Some of it could have been very flat in orientation with the data that you have in a tool like Salesforce or other CRM type tools, but it never had the level of sophistication that Christoph and the discipline of revenue operations brings to the table. So now today, we're much more fact-based, much more data-driven in our approach. Again, we think sales velocity is the fundamental building block by which you can then begin to look at how do you assess productivity at the region level. How do you assess predictability? And then how do you build the business plan that incorporates the entire value chain from lead to renewal, right? So when you back up to the very front of that value chain, when we're working with our chief marketing officer, what is the MQL requirement relative to the conversion of MQL to SAL that we know that exists, and the SAL to SQL applied with the win rate to say, if we do X on the front end, we think Y will drop out the back end. That level of muscle tone, I would say, did not exist. Ad hoc's a little bit strong language. I mean, we were I'd like to think in my past I've always been somewhat data driven, but this has fundamentally changed our approach to how we run our company. I believe that any small to medium sized company, if you haven't invested in a RevOps function, and someone that I feel very fortunate to be aligned with Christoph as an example, who really brings the approach, the methodology, and the process to it. You combine that with like IQ and sophisticated tooling to marry that up. That people, process, and tool is a powerful recipe. And if you haven't invested, if any company hasn't invested in that as a discipline, I think they're shortchanging themselves, and they're going to miss the real opportunity ahead.